literally, they took all of it and they just changed it around. There was an Armenian hermit or monk who lived in Jerusalem around the 14th or 15th century. And he was looking alphabets from Armenian. And Ethiopian monks in Jerusalem showed him Ethiopian alphabets and taught him. And so he copied it, literally took it. And if you see some Armenian writings, you think they are good. You can read the letters, but you cannot understand because they took the letters and then used it to duplicate the language. And so Ethiopia being a very ancient nation and the origin of mankind, there is no wonder if they traveled all over the world with their alphabets. There were waves of humanity moving from, in fact, Addis Ababa area about 150,000 years ago, who took their language and culture with them to Europe, long before Europeans were able to build houses and live a decent life. And so there's no wonder about that. And so I can congratulate you, Dr. Rahmat Ukita, for championing Amharic and the Ethiopian, I'll call it Ethiopian alphabets because it belongs to all alphabets. And it existed also long before Giz. The Giz speakers came to Ethiopia about 3,000 years ago, but they didn't bring any alphabets with them, though they had their own alphabets in ancient Israel, in the walls of Jericho. They were Giz speakers in the walls of Jericho who had their own alphabets. But when they came to Ethiopia, they adapted to the existing Ethiopian Sabian language. And so Saba originated from Suba, as the cover of the book we just saw. And there, inside the book, I have clearly demonstrated and indicated the very first human language called the Suba language. And later I'll show you those alphabets. And Sabian originated from there. It evolved out of that, and then became today what we know as Giz language. And the Amhara people also used some of that language. They adapted. They added their own alphabets to that and enriched it. And so, why is Amharic so of paramount importance? It's because there is no spelling mistake. If you can speak fluent Amharic, you cannot make any English mistakes. For instance, in English, you write K-N-I-F-E, knife, but it's pronounced as knife. So let me take your own name as an example. For example, Rahmato is 8 letters in Latin, but in Amharic it's only 4. Ra-H-Ma-To. Only 4. See how economical it is? It's because it is syllabic, that's why. And then let's take Keita. It's 5 in Latin and only 2 in Amharic, Keita. You see how it is? So you chose the right language. Bernard Shaw, you remember Bernard Shaw? He was an English playwright. He was very mad at the English language. Of course, he was Irish himself, but that was not the reason why he was mad at the English language. It's because he was writing in English, and so he found that language to be clumsy. So he was wishing there was a language where you write precisely as you speak, and that language proves to be Amharic. And so therefore, it's economical and nice. It's unfortunate that some of us Ethiopians do not realize this and have adopted Latin as our means of communication. And you can find out which ethnic groups use Latin now in Ethiopia. It's very sad, tragic. Whereas Europeans, Jewish people, and Latin speakers, Armenians, all this borrowed from us and developed their language. We're going back and then we're imitating those letters now they were primitive. And so it's a sad state for me as a writer. And so I wish they too will come to their senses and realize that Amharic belongs not only to the Amharic, but to all Ethiopians and to all who speak it. And the Giz alphabets, or I call them Ethiopic alphabets, belong not only to a few ethnic groups in Ethiopia, but to all Ethiopians. It's the legacy of all Ethiopians, and therefore I encourage everyone to write in our own Giz alphabet. And thank you. That's what I was saying.
Thank you, Professor. So we'll have another session to have explanation. So let's take some questions from the journalist. Dr. Hamza.
Register 3 months.
Okay. Dr. Asfaw is here. There is also Dr. Tayero, Dr. Sa, Mr. Ephraim, and others. The appointments will raise.
First of all, I would like to congratulate you, Madam. You are actually taking a big task. As you know, colonization has 2 parts. One is physical and the other is mental. Madam, when you speak about language, you are actually fighting the mental colonization. And from the outset, let me assure you, we, the now generation, were mentally colonized. So, as I heard you saying that you have applied, appealed rather, to some of the head of states and scholars, they took it as impossible. Don't mind them because of their mental colonization. But I will assure you, the next generation, which is free from mental colonization, will adapt it. Therefore, you are actually planting a seed. After saying this, we Ethiopians, those who believe that your effort is courageous enough, we will support you wholeheartedly. A good example is this medium, which is very important. Keep it up. We are behind you. Don't be discouraged, madam. It is a rough road because our leaders, we are actually mentally colonized, and unless we speak fluent French, fluent English, fluent German, that our there actually sick is uncomfortable. So you are actually fighting all this, remember. And thank you very much, and I wish you all the best and welcome to Ethiopia. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Asfaw. We'll continue after journalist's question. Later. Anyone have a question? One. Two. Okay, let's go with the 2 questions. ማይካችሁን ታስታውቁት? ወለች
Yes.
በማንኛውም ጠይቅ ትችላላችሁ ወይም በዚያም ጠይቅ ትችላላችሁ። ኦፕን Okay, let's go to the capital.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to say that which means welcome or in your language. My question is that